Next up, we got Khalil Rountree and Karl Roberson. And you know what's really crazy to me? To think Karl Roberson was one of the OG Dana White Contender Series alum. I mean, it makes you really think back and how much time flies. I mean, you think that he's only fought twice in the last 2 years. Lots of cancellations. I mean, it just seems like Karl Roberson has been around for so long, but we just haven't seen him that much. And then you think about Khalil Rountree, who was taking on some big fights and then couldn't find his stride and then comes out huge against Modestas. So I really just want to see him find his stride. I think he's got the right people behind him. I really believe that from a kickboxing perspective, a Muay Thai angle, like he's just really got that footwork from a striking perspective. But then let's get into like what's really important here. I mean, I think Karl Roberson is the kind of guy where he can hold his own as a striker, but it's the groundwork. I mean, he's been submitted quite a bit by elite level fighters. You know, the Marvin Vettori fight comes to mind. Then the most recent one, Brendan Allen, you know, he got heel hooked. And, you know, in that fight, it's like I remember them both trying to go for something and Brendan Allen kind of landing it. And those are the areas where you just want to see Karl Roberson be a better decision maker. And in previous fights, you've seen that from him. And I think the consistency, you know, he's been a ranked fighter. We've seen him accomplish quite a bit in that little time. I think it was 2017 that he was on the Dana White Contender Series. So in this fight, I really want to see him work that level change, work those strikes only to find openings, make it a dirty fight, get into those clinch areas, and, you know, get on top. Work that ground game, because I think with Khalil, he's going to be looking for those big shots and, you know, all the power to him. I think he should attack the body, use those big kicks to slow Karl down, because the big thing for me here is Khalil's a great second round fighter, but we've seen the cardio from him. So if he can avoid those grueling areas against the fence and on the ground, he should actually have a very good chance of winning this fight, both from a decision angle and from potential finish. And so that's where you kind of see, is this a weird like striker grappler? Kind of from what I think a game plan thing should be, because I don't see Karl being in his best, you know, opportunistic state in a stand-up battle with Khalil Rountree. Now, if he's starting to force level changes, use his striking to create clinch openings, all that kind of stuff against the fence, avoid the Muay Thai on the releases, the elbows, all that, you know, creative stuff that a guy like Khalil might throw at you, you know, Karl can really pull this one off. And so, in looking at this fight, I mean, my entire opinion just lands on the fact that a part of me thinks Karl Roberson might be just the better overall MMA fighter. He's maybe the worst striker, but just as an MMA fighter, he might have the tools here to pull something off. And so, because they're so close statistically, I am leaning closer to a pick 'em, but I got Karl Roberson here as a minus 130. I do think that makes a lot of sense based on what we've seen from him and what we think Khalil kind of struggles with. So let's take, I mean, this is a pick 'em from an MMA angle. I mean, plus 100 opener for Karl, but now he's moving up to the minus range, but they both are. In some places, it's minus 125 Karl, minus 105 Khalil. But I mean, if you are on either of these guys, it looks like, especially Khalil, you can get him at a dog price. You know, a lot of people do have him at that very much a pick 'em, but then I've seen plus hundreds, plus 105. So if you are a Khalil backer in this one, you need to be looking for those lines before they completely disappear.